Stem cell research, truths and myths. Stem cell research is one of the most important topics facing us today. Yet many people do not know much about this subject, and commonly believe the myths that they hear. This video will show you some of the most commonly believed myths, and then give you the truth on the subject. Myth: embryonic stem cells have the potential to cure many diseases. Truth: for years, proponents of embryonic stem cell research have been claiming that the future of cell therapy lies in stem cells from embryos. Yet to this day, not a single person has ever been cured or helped from embryonic stem cells. Trials in animals have only succeeded in creating large, uncontrollable tumors and are often rejected by the animal's body. Adult stem cells are already being used in dozens of treatments and have cured thousands of people. Myth: embryonic stem cells are the only choice when it comes to fully pluripotent stem cells. Truth: advocates of embryonic stem cell research used to claim that embryonic stem cells were needed because of the fact that they were the most highly pluripotent. That is, the ability to change into the different types of tissues in the body. But now scientists are able to take a fully mature skin cell and reprogram it back to its fully pluripotent state. This means that the cell can turn into any tissue in the body. Myth: since induced pluripotent stem cells are the same as embryonic stem cells, there is no huge benefit, and researchers should continue exploring both avenues. Truth: there are many different reasons why induced pluripotent stem cells are superior to embryonic stem cells. First, since the cells being changed into stem cells come from the patient, they will have the same DNA and will have virtually no chance of being rejected by the patient's body. Second, since they come from the patient, there will be no short supply. Last, but most importantly, there are no ethical concerns because no human embryos are destroyed in the process. Myth: researchers need to continue looking into all areas of stem cell research, even though they are able to create induced pluripotent stem cells. Truth: many supporters of embryonic stem cells try to claim that we should still research on embryonic stem cells because they might still be different from the reprogrammed cells. So far, scientists have concluded that the induced pluripotent stem cells are completely indistinguishable from embryonic stem cells and have the same level of pluripotency. Myth: somatic nuclear transfer creates embryonic stem cells. Truth: somatic cell nuclear transfer really just means cloning. All the process does is create a duplicate embryo that would then be killed for its stem cells. Millions of dollars have been spent on trying to extract stem cells from a cloned embryo, and yet it has never been done. Not only has the process never been successful, but it is highly controversial, considering the point is to create life, simply to destroy it. Myth: researchers are heavily restricted when it comes to cloning in the United States. Truth: as of now, there are no restrictions concerning human cloning for research on the federal level. People in favor of human cloning often refer to it as therapeutic cloning. Therapeutic cloning attempts to create human embryos through a cloning procedure called somatic cell nuclear transfer. Then they attempt to take the stem cells from the human embryo while destroying it. Despite many trials, no one has ever been able to obtain stem cells from a cloned human embryo. Myth: embryonic stem cell research is heavily restricted in Michigan. Truth: research using human embryos, stem cells, has been taking place at the University of Michigan since 2003, with federal funding. And now, with Proposal 2 passed this 2008 election, the restrictions have been loosened even further. The proposal states that researchers must continue to follow any existing laws unless they prevent, restrict, obstruct, or discourage any stem cell research or stem cell therapies and cures that are permitted by the provisions of this section. Myth. The creation of induced pluripotent stem cells by using genes to reprogram skin cells is illegal in Michigan. Truth. There is nothing in Michigan law that prevents researchers from creating induced pluripotent stem cells. iPS cells are created by reverting a mature skin cell into its pluripotent state. Since no embryos are destroyed or cloned, this process of getting stem cells is completely unhindered by state law. People in favor of unrestricted research in human cloning and embryonic stem cell research will like you to believe that it is illegal, so they can argue that we need less restrictions. Myth. Embryonic stem cell research will boost Michigan's economy. Truth. States that currently support embryonic stem cell research are giving away millions of taxpayers' dollars to researchers using embryonic stem cells. That along with more than $200 million from the federal government. And while using all that money, not one cure has been found. So embryonic stem cell research hasn't brought money into any states. It's just asked taxpayers to foot the bill. Myth. Embryos are just a clump of cells and not a real person. And since they will be destroyed, we should research on them. Truth. Once a human egg is fertilized, it contains all the genetic information it needs to make it an individual. It is simply a human in its early stage of life. Also, the argument that the embryos will just be destroyed is a false one too. Embryos no longer needed can be adopted by other couples and grow up to be mature humans just like the rest of us. Plus, if researchers are able to use these embryos for research, there will not be nearly enough, and then they will want to get more. There are many myths that people believe when it comes to stem cells. Hopefully, this video has given you valuable information so that you can make an informed decision on the subject and not just believe everything that you hear.